What's good, everybody? 100th episode of the Trainer Feed, kicking off on an IG Live video. We got everybody in the building. We got David Bravo.
What up?
And we got Mr. Jacques Delogere.
What's going on, everyone? Happy for the 100th episode. Pretty buzzing.
We are ready. If you guys don't know, my name is Angel Sanchez. I am on the Trainer Feed account. So if you don't follow already, please follow on Instagram at the Trainer Feed, all one word. And we'll start this thing off. How are you guys feeling? Everybody good?
Yeah, chilling. I just got.
Excellent. You guys want to talk about what we're going to do today?
So we're celebrating the 100th episode of the podcast, which is pretty impressive considering we stuck it out through COVID, but not only that, but continued post-COVID. And we're going to be bringing on three of our, we've had so many guests, but three great guests that we've had on. And excited to catch up with them. A couple of them were some of our first guests we ever had on. So that's a pretty exciting thing to see full circle where we've been in the past 2 years or so.
You at Angel Sanchez Fitness, Inc.?
Yeah, pretty much. Sanchez Strength Training, but it's all the same. Let's start with our first guest. How about that?
Let's do it. Let's bring Brendan Kelly in.
Oh, no.
The big homie, one of our first guests.
Oh, here he is.
Hey.
Turns it backwards.
What's up, handsome?
Just hanging out. Let me turn my music down. What's going on? Angel Sanchez Inc. Sounds a lot like Brendan Kelly Fitness LLC. I'm just gonna say.
No, I'm not saying anything. That's not the true term. David's just pulling that name out of a hat. But definitely inspired by what you've been doing. See, you got your own place, your own facility. You started your own business. Things have been rocking and rolling. Talk to us a little bit about how things been since the last time we had you on the podcast.
I think last time, when was I on the podcast? I was in peak COVID, not training anybody.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah.
It was all remote. I think I was doing a couple of people in like outdoor sessions. You know, we were just doing what we had to do. Since then, I mean, I think I've come back. I mean, at least in Boston, I think the training industry's kind of come back like 3 times as strong. People have been just cooped up. And as far as the type of people that buy training anyway, you know, they've just been kind of waiting. You know, your physically fit people are always going to do what they do. But the people who are kind of probably on the fence about their fitness have now become even more serious about like, you know, now's really the time to go. I mean, for me personally, business has been booming. I can't complain. Yeah. How about you guys? What have you been up to? I know you went off on your own.
Yeah, I'm doing my own thing right now. You saw me put together a rogue bench. Everybody was like,
The rogue full assembly is a nightmare.
yeah, it's no joke.
Full on workout. I was dripping sweat. Like I was building the cage and I was like, what the heck?
Exactly. But no, that thing is a tank. But yeah, doing my own thing right now. Everything is good. Like you said, business is starting to boom again. The mandates are dropping. You know, the mayor and the governor seem to be on the same page. Some things make sense, some things don't, but we're rocking and rolling.
What about you, David?
Same shit, different day. No, it's good. Business is, I'm like at 95% of my business at the gym. So, you know, people come and go.
West 76?
Yeah,
Hold
still
it
there.
down.
You know, it's
David's the OG.
They've been
The OG. Yeah.
they've treated me well so far. You know, so we'll see.
Is
But
Equinox at fully like no regulations right now?
No, you
With
need
masks, you mean?
With like masks and COVID and all that stuff?
No, I mean you can wear masks if you want to. You need to be vaccinated though to be
Yeah.
at the gym.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna go to school in the fall, and we'll see what happens then. But well, yeah, everything's been good. No, I'm gonna get my master's in social work.
Oh, that's awesome. Congrats.
So yeah, 2-year program.
Columbia, right?
I don't know, man. We'll see. They you know, they accept an offer. I got accepted to a lot of the schools that. A lot of it is convenience and also money. Like I don't want to be working up here on the Upper West Side and have to go to school all the way down, you know, Village. We'll see.
Negative.
So what you're really saying is you need a sugar mama.
Start sending those applications in, people, listeners.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the right location, West 76. Come on.
I don't, discriminate. But yeah, no, it'll be good. We'll see. Started playing rugby, like these guys know, dude. Totally different thing. Yo,
There's no timeouts. You just keep going. You don't take no timeouts, no TV timeout, nothing.
I told this to Nick, who we'll have on a little later, but I've told this to Nick, aside from all the huffing and puffing and me, almost like losing and collapsing a lung, it's so much fun.
The hammies, the hamstrings.
Yeah, all of it. It's just my knee this past Tuesday was like, hey, don't do this anymore, David. Like, no, stop. But it's fun. It's good. A little bit of lateral action. I'm trying to get, Jacques to come and join, maybe Angel.
I don't know. I played for 9-10 years back in England, and I stopped because I was pretty much the only person that hadn't really gone through puberty, and everyone had pretty much finished. I was like a men against boys, and it just wasn't really enjoyable anymore being this little scrawny, 14, 15-year-old.
We'll go out to the park. We'll run some drills.
I remember how to pass both hands. I remember how to make plays and stuff. I don't know if I'm as fast as I was younger.
Yeah.
But 4 knee surgeries later, I don't know.
Yeah, 4
captain and the coach.
4 knee surgeries are a little tough.
gonna make the return like fucking what's it called? Joe Burrow gonna wear the big knee brace and take all the hits, but
just get strong.
You said you're playing Tuesdays and Thursdays, which actually might work. So I was like looking at it, I was like, we'll see. I might. What
have you been up to, Jacques? As far as training goes?
Still training at Equinox. A little bit on the private front too. I'm trying to get my feet wet with group fitness also. So that's my next venture. Trying to get more into that realm.
Like group fitness, small group training, or are you thinking like legitimate like group classes like at the Equinox level?
Like group classes at the Equinox level. So, I think the biggest class they can do is at 30, 35, I think. Or maybe it's just 30. But to do that, I think there's definitely opportunities to come for that. There's people to meet. That can also be a way of picking up business as well, right? Like if people come to class and like, oh, do you do one-on-one? And they do. And I've had the fortune of mentoring with 2 really good people that I both train actually. So they've really helped me with the process. And it's a different skill, right? Like I know Angel's done a little bit of it, where you're so used to doing something one-on-one with someone and all right, fix a squat, like you do either in mid-set or at the end of the set. This is what we did, right? When you do someone gave me the analogy that Angel maybe told me this as well, but when you're in a class, it's like going to the emergency room, like who needs help the most? Like who's not going to survive here if I help them? So, seeing people that, it's just so interesting when you demonstrate an exercise one way and you see it 20 other different ways. I think you're like, I just demonstrated a press. Why am I seeing all? It's
like doing 30 Equifits at a singular time.
They're all gonna look different.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun. That's and honestly, that's kind of like that's the main ththing, really, man. Like, I still kind of float the idea of moving out west because you already know how it is on the East Coast, how cold it gets and everything, but. New York, like the East Coast is also where it's at. You said if in Boston it's come back 3 times as strong. I'm interested to hear about how your business is going. How has it been? What does it look like right now?
So if you want like my deep dive into like my crazy theories, as people ask me to move all the time to like California, stuff like that. My whole breakdown is like Boston is kind of a emerging market as far as fitness. Like we're historically like people, I would say traditionally here, like don't work out that much. It's much more of like a happy hour type place. And it's a very much like anti-vanity place compared to like New York and LA, where like, if you try to look good, it's kind of like, like who do you think you are? You know what I mean? That kind of place. But lately we've been getting a lot more like younger people and like a lot of like young technology companies have been starting up here. And so you have a lot of these influx of these, young people with money, with the financial means to take care of themselves. And, our population is just drastically increasing. So I feel like we're kind of, in this big emerging market of, untapped fitness potential, where if I was to go to California or back to New York, it's really something that's already, the culture there's already been established. So for me,
saturated.
I feel like, yeah, exactly. Isn't it like you can always break through a saturated market, like cream always rises to the top. But realistically, it's like I feel like the reason I've been so fortunate is because I'm in a situation where I'm getting like inbound sales, inbound leads. I'm not having to chase down leads because people are actively, hey, I just moved from this place and I live in Somerville now, or I live in Cambridge now and I'm looking for training. So I really think that that's been, why I stay here and why I think that, it's only going to get more of that in the next couple of years.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Because, we're kind of that mid-market city in general.
In Boston.
Yeah. Because you visited, you came here during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, 2020.
Like we're a big city in a small radius. The moment you like cross the threshold of the actual downtown, it gets like pretty town-like pretty quick.
Yeah, I did see that. I liked Seaport was pretty cool as well. I thought that was kind of not New York feel, but like a bit of an influence there with the financial quarter. But
yeah, so those kinds of developments are popping up all over Boston and the surrounding cities. So that's why I'm like pretty adamant on like, if you stay here, there's just going to be even more. I think there's going to be more demand than there is supply at the moment. That will probably switch the other way, but
for the time being, or short term being, that could be what it looks like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Exciting. No, it's a beautiful city, man. I met Big Z there. That made my trip pretty cool as well.
Oh, was it Daniel? Right before he left?
Yeah, and actually, speaking of which, it's his birthday today, and he's as old as Brady. No, he's older than Brady now. He's 45. Yeah,
45. Still playing. Gets no praise. I see my roommate's in the chat right now. He's a huge Bruins fan. He just joined up, so he's probably.
Oh yeah.
He's probably pissed I'm even talking hockey because he's like, thinking I don't know anything. Yeah.
But he's gonna take it, bro.
Exactly. Always. But yeah, so I mean, as far as training goes, I mean, I still kind of follow the same formula that you guys do, which is like I really run like can I use the word EquiFit? Is it trademarked? I run like a fitness assessment using the functional movement screening, where we do like a goals and needs analysis, and then from there it goes into I'll do, if the person has no health conditions, no health issues, I'll move right into a session like right away. If they have some specialty needs or something that I have to go then like, special program for, then I'll have them come back for a complimentary session and then, just kind of go from there, present them with a program. But I will say that like field experience, you just learn that, a lot of people, you never know who's going to come through the door, but most people are kind of ready to go, especially when you get younger clients. And it really comes down to like strength, especially. But what I see every day is like, okay, you really just need more lunges, split squats, and banded pull-aparts. Like, I don't know about you guys, but the post-pandemic clients, it's tight hips and internally rotated shoulders.
Yeah.
It's it's a constant. Everyone's been sitting down and playing on their computer. It's like, okay, you need glute bridges and banded pull-aparts.
Also the push-up challenge to be doing 30 push-ups a day.
Yeah, right?
On your Facebook and your IG,
100%.
What's your
Everyone's just doing.
What have you been doing? Are you just what's going on? Are you still modeling, or do you have a different like philosophy now?
No, right now I've just been just lifting a lot, just really focused primarily on the training and the business side of things, and I still have my name in the hat for shoots, but nothing that I'd really care about. But I've been training a lot of jiu-jitsu lately, and that's just I found to be an immensely humbling experience from a strength and conditioning, kind of like rugby, where we train, we're strong and stuff like that, but there are people out there that are just on a different level of physical conditioning, and they might not look it. That's the best part too.
Yeah, my clients is
they're like skip in, but they're just
they are so strong, and you're like, what in the fuck is this?
No, when I was we were at practice, big guy, right? Bigger guy, and you just see him just like zoom like through everyone, and you're like looking like, what the fuck is that?
He's so nimble. I actually worked out with a rugby guy one time. It blew my mind. We were doing 100-yard dashes at like this real nice sports training facility, and he was like 300 pounds. I'm like, oh, this big dude's gonna die. And he was like a ballerina. His footwork was like beautiful. I was like, what?
It's insane. Super.
I think I don't know if you have them in the States, but when I grew up in the UK at school, we had this thing called the bleep test when you had to run from.
Yeah, the pacer. Yeah, we got the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember reading about the New Zealand rugby team. Even though the forwards, who are typically heavier and bigger, or maybe not necessarily associated with being as fit, they all had to hit a certain level. Like it was prerequisite for them to hit, I don't know, level 16, 17, whatever it was. And so, as you just mentioned, people that you think are not, or athletes that are not associate with being that physically, you know, I don't know, cardiovascularly capable. They are. It's just
that comes down to it is, right? It's like, I think the big stigma, or not the stigma, the big, misconception is that somebody looks fit, whatever that means. They are a certain way, they could run, whatever, but not necessarily the case. You have bigger guys that are insanely fast and strong, and they're not the ones that you would be like, oh, look at you, you're like the peak in shape, but in reality, they're like peak athlete, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just think about this all the time. Is like the more muscle mass you carry, the more oxygen demand you're going to have for speed work, especially like, anything anaerobic, as you guys know. So like, in very unlikely that a super muscular person is going to have a matching conditioning. And if they do, it'd probably be unlikely that they're not a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Because like the amount of work you'd have to put in to maintain an extremely muscular stature and be able to have a high output cardiovascularly, you wouldn't be able to have anything else. You know what I mean? So I would say personally, I think that, like you said, it's more often than not the extremely like high performing athletes. It's going to be, maybe not what you think as far as, maybe outside the NFL.
But the other thing as well, I saw so funny. There's a couple of guys I played hockey with in college, and some of the smallest, skinniest guys, and these guys would crush people. They would just lay the biggest hits, and then when it came to trying to hit them, you could knock them off. But like talking to some of the skinniest, good, but just so strong on their skates, and that was so funny as well. When you see like people fighting in hockey, fighting on skates compared to fight, like it's two different styles, two different concepts of training or fighting, if you will. But yeah, dude, we want to really respect your time, but we're so pumped you were able to join us, and I can't believe it's been almost 2. I think it was like episode 5, 6, 7 we had you on. So we're 100 episodes in, to come full circle a year in.
I'm just happy to be on the 100th episode. It's a milestone. I'm glad you guys decided to go with greatness. You represent the city of champions. You guys had to pay respect to the city of champions, and it's okay. You wanted to reach out. You saw Tom Brady coming out of retirement. You thought of me. It's all right. So, appreciate you guys.
25 yet? Or no?
Huh?
What are you, 25 yet?
Me barely, I'm
Brendan,
reverse aging.
Shout
I'm
out
25
the
in
Instagram.
years.
Shout out your Instagram. Shout out your business, where people could find you, all that jazz.
BrendanKellyFitnessStudio.com. We got our URL jack, so we had to change it. And then it's Brendan Kelly Fitness on IG. So feel free to join me, add me. We got programs online right now, $40, 2-day-a-week athletic performance program. So make sure to check it out.
Cool.
That's dope.
Sweet. Awesome,
Yep,
dude.
Brendan.
So good catching up, man.
Hey, it's a pleasure, guys. I'd love to, hop on a non-podcast call sometime and really chop it up,
Let's do
Definitely,
it. Yeah,
definitely.
that's true.
So take it easy, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
See you later.
Thanks,
Take care,
Brendan.
man. See you soon.
Bye.
Peace. All right.
Oh, no.
That was Brendan. Go on.
Go ahead, David. David, you saying something or are you eating right now? What's going on?
Oh, everybody wants some dried apricots.
Hey,
All right.
all right.
Nah, it was dope seeing Brendan. Everybody show Brendan some love. We're going to give some room for our next guest. David, you want an intro?
Yeah, we got Nick Yuan, who's strength and conditioning coach, lifter. He's been playing rugby as well for a couple years, and he's the one that got me to do it. And yeah, we'll chat with him, see what he's been up to. He also left like the commercial gym business aside. He's doing his own thing now, and we're gonna see what he's doing.
Excellent. I sent him the invite. He should be joining shortly.
Cool.
Jack, I see we're wearing like the same shirt. What's going on?
From Buori?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, not Nick.
What's up, guy?
Good, Nick.
How we
How's
doing? How we
Boston?
doing? It's good.
So a second guest that's in Boston,
right
just
now.
happened to
Yeah.
work out.
So I'm echoing a little bit here. I'm in this private meeting room. I might get yelled at from screaming too loud because I let out a little New York yeah. How you guys doing?
Wake up, man. How you feeling?
Good, good. Happy to be here.
So what have you been up to? How's your training life been? How's your clientele been?
It's been good, luckily. Was it?
After COVID, because as everyone knows, it's like not non-existent anymore.
David, don't say that. You're gonna fuck around, get COVID again.
David Bravo has gotten COVID the most out of anyone I've ever met in my
He's got
entire
all
life. I
strains.
just want to throw that one out there. Yeah, he's collected them all.
Like
Like
Benny, he's got
yeah,
the
that's what I was gonna say too.
I'm a Pokemon man.
No, it's good. Like David was saying, since the last time I've been on, I left our former club and just went 100% full-time private. So it's been a really gratifying experience. And actually, like, I have to thank you guys a lot because I think even in the last podcast that I was on, if you could tell, I was kind of like almost like questioning my life as a trainer a lot. But like being on there, I feel like helped me get back to my roots about like why I became a trainer and like the kind of impact I want to have on the community around me. So I really appreciate, having me on, like just the time you guys spent with me. Even like before being on the podcast, the time you guys all individually spent with me at Equinox and just like teaching me and showing me the ropes of being a trainer, I really appreciate it.
Of course,
Of course, man. It was always a pleasure.
Yeah,
Especially if you're an easy listener. Like it's true that we work with so many trainers, and if you're just like a sponge, it's something easy to work with someone of that nature, right? And if you're open to criticism is a hard thing, but I want to say someone early on at 76 told me you'll be more successful if you're more open to feedback. It's not always going to be what you want to hear, but it's just going to make you a better person, a better trainer. I said, this is coming from someone who's senior and they're successful. Kind of drink the Kool-Aid almost, and like I'm open to it. So you were the same way, so it was easy for us to work with you for sure.
Appreciate it.
Were you part of the mentor program when we were doing it?
What was that?
When you first started, were you part of that mentor program?
No, I wasn't part of it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, I was going to say it was like that group was so diverse, it almost helped people realize that it wasn't like a cookie cutter thing. Like everybody had their own recipe to the secret sauce that made them successful as well. So I think it gave us all the opportunity when we all got there to kind of like stop for a second and think about what does this team like bring to the table in terms of training and coaching, and then how can I figure out that for myself, right? And some people it's a longer path than others, and some people it's really quick, but I definitely think that it was cool that you were there and very receptive. So I agree to Jacques' point about being receptive, because I think that is one of the key factors in making it in the business, kind of like allowing people to kind of coach you and just help you out.
100%.
But talk to us a little bit about this rugby situation. So David's been saying he's getting athletic. And he's been trying some different things, stepping out of the box. Firsthand experience. What do you think of David's rugby practice?
All joking aside,
you don't got to answer that.
No, all joking aside, I actually think David moves very well. I think he's lucky at the time that he's gotten there, because when he came in, we had very more relaxed practices where we kind of played touch and just worked on structure and formation. I think that was the best way to really learn the game, is just by going out and playing it. I think that when you play a sport like rugby, it's very kind of like nerve-wracking, because like all you hear about is like people getting hit, people getting hurt, people fighting. And when you get the ball in the hand, it's almost like all eyes are on you, like, because the only person that can get touched is the person that's holding the ball, basically. But I think it's good that he's had the time to kind of take a step back, understand like running in pod systems, understanding like what the forwards and the backs do. Because I think also like rugby is a game that's like your position is so specific to your role during the game. Having the time to break everything down and understanding where you're supposed to be on the field at specific times is very big.
Interesting. So he's got what position do you guys have him playing? Do you run it? Does somebody else run it? How does that work?
So I run the sevens team for Lansdowne, but I'm not the head coach for our 15 side. Yeah. But I play. I was originally playing open side flanker and blind side flanker, but now I play hooker. And I think David's probably going to play tight head or loose head prop.
Yeah, cool with it.
Come on.
For those who don't know the sport, can you explain a little bit like what those positions mean? Like in soccer terms, I think soccer terms are probably a little bit more universal, or in football terms, I don't know. American football.
Yeah,
so forwards are typically the people that, I mean, with their name being said, like move the ball forward. Like we play off the 9, which I guess can be compared to almost like it's funnier because I actually don't know like the American football terms, but the guy like throws the ball back to quarterback. So instead, there's almost like a two-step system to the way that they throw the ball out. There's a 9 and 10, the scrum half and a fly half. The 9 works primarily with the forwards, at least the tight 5, which is prop, hooker, and then locks. And then the back row, what they call, is like both flankers and the number 8, where they can kind of play with the forwards in the back at the same time, depending on where they are on the field. Me and David's role primarily is in the scrum. We're in the front 3. So we're providing a lot of the support and power to the drive when there's a stop a play or a knock on or something like that. And then my role as a hooker is I throw the ball in from the line out, and then I use my foot to hook the ball, which is why I get the name.
Oh shit! So that's hard work.
You should see it though, Angel. Though when the position they're talking about right now, they're the front 3. Like in a scrum, for example, when those group of 8 guys go together, go right, and their heads like lock on the other side. That's the front right there. You guys, what you guys should wear though? You guys should wear like
The
tape
scrum
or
cast?
headgear. Otherwise, you'll get
The cauliflower.
You
Yeah,
guys
I
don't want
recently started wearing that. Yeah, honestly, like I do prefer playing loose, but I think like I had a conversation with my coach. He was basically saying like that he believes that hooker's going to be my most competitive position because I can throw the ball really well for the lineouts, and I'm also strong enough for like a majority of the people in the front row, but I could run as fast as most of the flankers. But I mean, it is a nerve-wracking feeling. Like when you're in the middle of the scrum, like I've personally been in a few scrums that collapse. And when you're a hooker, at least like a prop, they have the loose hand out, they can pull it out and hold the weight up. But when you're a hooker, like you're basically held in by 2 people and you're just falling head first like that. And sometimes it spins out and my neck just went that way and my body went the other way. And I was like, oh, this is the moment where I die. But
I played in the forwards when I was younger, and then as soon as I was 10, 11, I wasn't really playing the forwards anymore, and I was glad. I was like, fuck that. Especially when I think the heavier the... Go on.
Jock's gonna start playing. Jock's gonna start playing.
No,
I'd be excited to see Jock come out.
No, I said to him, because I played for 9 years. I wasn't... I had like a 2 or 3 year span where I was like, okay, decent. Then I just went to shit. But I loved playing scrum half. Scrum half is my favorite position. And what's funny is that's kind of where my knee issues began, because I realized I was only playing half a game, right? They played the one guy, then they played me the second half. And then when that guy, there was a year when because we played for club and school in England. And then 1 year, the school said, no, you choose school or club. And because the school is more competitive, the school made only their players play for the school. So it meant I got the whole game, which was good for me. But I was saying to myself, I am not fit enough for this. So my initial response was I need to start running to improve my stamina. I got tendonitis right off the bat. And then I lost my starting position as scrum half, and I got put on the wing. And as you may know, when there's a guy who's in the backs who doesn't know the game that well, or is not specific to a position, or is also versatile. So it can be a number of things. You put them on the wing, because the wing is the place where sometimes the least damage they can do. They're not like so. And for Angel and David, if you guys are still becoming familiar with the game, the quarterback in rugby is kind of 2 different positions. It's the scrum half and the fly half. Those are the 2 guys that really dictate how you make the plays, how you move the ball. And scrum half was just, that was just my most enjoyable one. But it's so demanding because when you watch the pros as well, the scrum half is usually at every breakdown, to every reset play, and he's at one side, this side, and it's just like they have to be the fittest ones. But I'll tell you, it was. Yeah, it's just, but you know what? It's I think David was sending me some highlights, and I was like, I told you France were nasty this year.
Well, England.
He didn't believe me, and I told you to tell Keith. I was like, look at Keith. Tell Keith that England got smoked by Ireland at home.
I said, Keith, I watched the game. He says, of course. And I said, well, I think France is going to beat you guys. And he's like, well, we don't know. France is doing very well. But I want to ask Nick, you talked earlier about your training for, I guess, if you decide to take it further, if you want to take rugby further. So what's going on with that? Like, are you planning on trying to play a little higher up, higher end, maybe pro or anything like that? What's the process with that?
So I just got accepted into the USA Rugby High Performance Camp, which is basically like a mock like MLR combine. It's not directly like correlated, but I'll be like getting looked at by some scouts. I think it's kind of funny to say this because I'd still consider myself to be very young, but I'm right on the age gap of being too old to start competing. But my main philosophy is just kind of like I want to take competitive sports to the highest level that I can. Like, as I mentioned at the last podcast I was on, one of my biggest regrets in college is not really pursuing swimming at the D1 level, even though I got in, I kind of just like brushed sports to the side, and like that was an opportunity that I feel like I always kind of think back on. So like my main thought of like rugby is like I love the sport so much, so I just want to take it to the highest competitive level that I can. And even if I don't make it there, it's like at least I took my shot and tried it out, you know.
If you don't get into the pro level, is there any other levels you could play at that are kind of there?
Yeah, so there's also just recently started this league called the American Premiership Rugby, or American Rugby Premiership, one of the two. And they're basically like the level right below the MLR. And then we play the level right below them in the Empire GU.
Yeah. Are you able to like get there, or do you also have to try out for it?
Yeah, you also do have to try out for it. There are only, I believe, 4 teams in that league right now. It's Old Blue, Mystic River, White Plains, and then I believe Nyack. So those are the 4 teams, and I think Lansdowne is in the future planning to produce an APR team, but there are certain things that you have to kind of do in the back end before we're able to produce at that level in terms of like just the team sport. But I think that we definitely have the talent to do it. Like you haven't had the opportunity to see like our team play at a full like D1 side game, but they are like I would say like a lot of guys have been playing since like a really young age. They're extremely talented.
You just know the ins and outs of the games are usually, right? When you've been playing that long, you know
Right.
something that David was showing me the video where, so in the game to pass out the tackle, when you get tackled and to kind of like make the pass on and
Right.
continue play. That I'm not saying that's groundbreaking, but when I was playing at the time, New Zealand, who've always been very competitive, they were the first team to do that. And when they were
Mm.
dicking on other opponents, and we're talking about other really good teams, other countries, they were the closest teams to even going close to beating them were like losing by like 10, 20. No one's really come
Right.
close to beating them. They were the first team to just like pass out
Right.
tackle, quick on the breakdown. And then there was a guy, a flanker, his name was Richie McCaw. Anytime
Yeah.
they were defending, you'll know his, David, you'll get to know his name. He's retired now, but when he was playing, this guy was the best player in the world because when it came to like, he would almost be the equivalent of the NFL of like a very efficient linebacker where he would stop the play. But because in rugby, you don't stop the play on that down, you would be able to be the first one to recover and take the ball your way and just keep going the other way.
Right.
So he like if you're looking at flanker, he was really good. And then I want to say Dan Carter was the fly half for the All Blacks. He was really good as well. It's not common, but before the All Blacks, a lot of fly halves weren't necessarily, they were the best at kicking maybe and passing, but not necessarily always the fastest. And then he was just another breed where now the position demands that you be not only great at cooking but phenomenal at running, like being crazy speed.
It's a good step off that like I don't know, I think that's like one of the most impressive things, like kind of what you guys were talking about prior. It's like guys that are so big, but they can not only run fast, but just like stop on a dime. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen Rusty Walsh was just in this chat a little while ago. He's one of the guys that plays prop on our team. And this guy is like so nimble, but I've also seen him literally do like a goose step and he just steps and all of a sudden he's just on the other side of the field.
That's
Like,
wild.
where did that even come from?
Yeah. But I know I'll stop going on. But then I think there was, I think it might have also been New Zealand, the All Blacks, where their forwards were almost as good as passing of their backs. And I remember reading a story about, I want to say it was the 87 or 91 World Cup or 95, one of those three, I can't remember which one. And the coach was so upset with their handling of the ball in terms of dropping the passes and not catching. The coach made them practice with bricks. That was his.
That's
like, you're not going to, you guys can't catch a ball, we got to learn. Because the theory was that's a hard thing to catch, but you don't want to let that slide through your hands. You want to catch it right there and then. It'll be very fun with the catch. So I think they did better the following game, but that was extreme measure to take on.
Yeah. But I mean, I do agree with you 100% on that note. Like, when you have confidence in ball handling, you don't have to be like as good as like a 9 or 10, but especially in the forwards, if you just know how to distribute the ball, I feel like that makes such a difference in your game. Like recently, I played for this team called the Pacific Island Warriors during the New York Sevens rugby tournament, and we won the social sides. But it was just like seeing these guys pass was crazy. Like they were all really big on like the behind the back, like one-handed pass. They would be like mid tackle and just throw it like the same speed and the same pace that I would throw with 2 hands across the field. They just did one hand, just throw it right out the back, and it was like crazy. But like learning that and learning how to distribute off the tackle, I feel like it's such a difference in my game since then.
It takes you. I think that's the difference between winning or losing in that sport, honestly.
Right.
But Six Nations is a really good showcase to watch because those guys, I feel bad for Italy because they've been dog shit for 22 years. They've always been bad. It sucks. But I think France and then Ireland are pretty good, and Scotland have got some good players too. But
But
yeah, it's one
Ireland's
weird
pretty up
thing.
there now too.
Jacques, where's your allegiance? Are you
Ireland.
England? What,
First of all,
France?
fuck
What is
England.
it?
No.
Oh,
So-
nah.
Oh yes. So the beauty of being dual nationality, folks, those of you listening, being French and Scottish, everyone would be like, you can't choose both. You can have one or the other. I was like, no. Do I choose one parent? No, they're both my parents. So
Oh,
if France plays
they're-
Scotland, what's up?
He's trying to get you down a rabbit hole. Let's get back
I know
to
he
Nick
is.
business.
David, cut down. Angel pulled
Yeah,
back
David,
out.
fall back. You're getting on Jacques all the time, and now you're doing it live. You can't do it on live. Save that shit for the recording. We can cut it. But Nick, let's talk about business. So you're still doing personal training. You're doing it out in New Jersey. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah, so primarily I'm just doing most of my training out of my garage, and then I also have an online subscription service where I just do like monthly programming for people.
Oh shoot, no joke. That's awesome. And is that kind of like how you scale your business? Like I know for a lot of people, the one-on-one or even the group setting stuff, the live stuff, in-person stuff is probably at the top of how people can access your professional whatever. And then from there, like you can do other stuff. So is like the remote or the online programming, is that like scalable? Is that like going a little bit for it's more accessible to a larger amount of people?
Yeah, I think that kind of on that same note, it's definitely accessible to much more people. I think in certain ways is provided that they have the foundation of knowing all the fundamental compound movements that it's also a little more affordable for most people. Like some people don't really want like the one-on-one attention the entire time. They kind of say, okay, like just tell me what to do. Like I'll do it. I'll let you know like how it goes. But also I think that's one of the best things that's come out of COVID for trainers, that this kind of explosion of like online training. It's like before, like when we were all working at 76, we were kind of like tied down to that one location. Like I think some people did virtual, but it was very kind of like in the background or mostly done by like Instagram kind of trainers. But now it's like so prominent with like really big names in our industry doing it. So I definitely think that there's a future in that. I still think that nothing can really beat one-on-one coaching in person. But as of right now, I'm kind of limited with the space within my house. And then depending on how things go for the next few years, I do have plans to open up my own facility over in Jersey and kind of make it similar, like a lot of things that are accessible in New York, because I don't see that as often in Jersey with spots like the independent training spot. I think there's one by our club called like Studio IX where like other trainers are able to come in and kind of see their one-on-one clients there. I think what I've seen mostly is more like boxing where they have specific trainers working there, or kind of people who are more like smaller studio sizes instead of all people kind of collaborating to have a bigger facility with more equipment that we can all use together.
I see. And where are you doing with virtuals? Are virtuals like a big part of your business right now, or is it kind of like?
I would say right now I mostly do more programming than actual virtuals, but it's all kind of open right now. That was honestly something I only started doing maybe in the last like 2 or 3 months or so. Before that, I was just doing it all in person.
That's awesome. Do you want to like tell people like how they can best get in contact with you, or do they pull up to your house? Like what?
The best way to get in contact with me is probably to follow my IG page, which is at Nick Lifts Up Life. I'm probably gonna start another page when I start like my own location, but as of right now, that's more of like I guess like a fitness blog where I kind of talk about like my principles of like programming and training, like my current workouts that I do, so people can follow along with their process, and also some updates from my current clients and what they do and like how I go about their training process.
That's awesome. Well,
Cool.
we love the stuff that you put out there. You know, keep up the hard work.
Appreciate it.
Happy to have like kind of have that timestamp where we had that episode, so we can like always look back onto it and see where you were then, and then kind of like reflect on where you're at now. Love the stuff that you're doing. Your people are getting super strong, so we've been seeing those lifts, and those
Yeah, we
lifts
see
look
that.
clean, right? Like they're legit.
Appreciate
So
it, guys.
keep up the hard work.
Shout out Drew. Shout out Dennis.
Yeah, shout out my boy Peter Lou, bro. This guy went from a 155 deadlift to 400 in 2 months.
What?
I saw
Yeah.
that. Crazy.
Guy's a beast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gee.
Big updates to come from there. But yeah, appreciate you guys having me on again. Hopefully I'll be on some other time. But if not, you know, I'd love to catch up with you guys in person as well.
Well, it was a pleasure, man.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Goodbye, Nick.
Thanks.
Take it easy, guys.
Enjoy Boston, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Good seeing you.
Yeah, man.
Likewise.
Cool.
All right. That was Nick UN. Great stuff. I feel like my face got bigger on this IG live, right? When somebody leaves, is that how it works?
Because you got you widen out.
Crazy. With that said, we're gonna get our next guest on. Next guest is Georgine. You might remember her from the earlier podcast episodes. She was the first guest that we've ever had. So I'm gonna send her an invite right now, and she'll be here to chat with us live.
Hi.
Hey,
Georgine.
Hello.
Hey,
I'm in my car. I'm sorry.
Damn.
no need to apologize.
I'm at a McDonald's parking lot.
Nice.
Holy
Not eating McDonald's though.
No, we don't believe it.
They have, I think they have Impossible Burgers.
I know. I haven't tried it. Have you tried it?
No, I haven't. From people that have told me, they've said it's not that bad.
Okay.
That's usually what they say,
That's
right?
exactly what you want to hear from food that you eat.
It's not that bad.
It's so
If you didn't,
three of you
yeah,
together.
go on, Georgine. Yeah, well, if you didn't tell us what it was, they wouldn't be able to tell you it was meat. They wouldn't. I tried it with my family once. It was hilarious. I told them it was elk, and they were like, "Oh, okay." Then I told them after, and they're like, "Oh."
Damn. Georgine, tell us a little bit about how you've been, what you've been up to since the last time we had you on the podcast.
Oh, so that was a long time ago.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
Crazy.
I did a lot actually. So I did a lot of outdoor training for about a year and a half. Really kind of sticking to one spot and near the museum near my place. And I was going into Central Park to train. It's just like a hassle. I was starting to like load more and more weights onto my wagon. I was like, I can't doing this for way too many calories to get these weights over, especially because like even with outdoor training, it's really hard to progressively overload. So I didn't want to like not have my clients have that experience of like getting their weights heavier. So I did try to carry a good amount of stuff, but everything has been great. We're actually looking at home right now. That's why I'm in my car, planning to leave the city in the end of the summer.
Wow.
New Jersey, heading to Jersey.
No, we're from Jersey, so we're trying to go upstate. So we're in like the Mahopic like lake area of just an hour up. So just an hour drive into the city. So I might still be able to work once in a while in the city, or maybe even form a business out here, which would be nice. So it's a lot of shifting right now, really.
This is exciting though.
Yeah. I think it actually gave me a lot of confidence during COVID of like starting my own business to like, okay, I can move somewhere, even though it's not New York City, to like build a new business somewhere else, you know?
Yeah, you
still
get
be
that.
able to.
No, I was just gonna say you get that confidence because it's like it almost forced everybody to rethink what they're currently doing.
Yeah.
We just had Nick on, and he was talking about how like when we were doing the episode, he was kind of faced with his decisions and where he's at in his life, and I think that COVID kind of at least allowed a lot of people that time to reflect.
Yeah.
And then push themselves to do something different or like pivot, like a lot of us trainers have been doing. But if you're going to move, like, do you feel like, I'll ask this question again, I kind of asked Nick earlier about virtuals. Like, do you feel like your business is primarily surrounded by that, or do you feel like it's more of a hybrid or in person?
Yeah, it's definitely more in real life. Even during the main part of COVID, I was doing more outdoors stuff anyway. Me and virtual like really don't get along together just because I get very like eye fatigued. But I did do a lot of virtual training in the beginning. Right now, actually, I'm working in a private studio on called Studio 9, where there's only like maybe I max like 4 or 5 trainers in a room with their clients. So it's very like limited amount of people. And that's been really, really great. Nice and clean, not too crowded. So that's what I've been doing recently, along with a few virtuals. And I haven't done any outdoors because it actually just started getting warmer now.
Yeah. It's Mango, cocoa, cherry degrees outside.
Yeah, but
70 degrees. Yeah.
I've been kind of spoiled now that I'm in the studio. I'm like, I don't want to go back outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with that, right?
Last year, I went all the way up to January. All the way up to January.
Wow.
There was like ice and snow on the ground, and I met like a client for the first time. I was like, this is what's happening.
Jesus, I've been doing it for 2 years. I don't even want to think.
I trained a couple people in the snow for a couple of sessions, and then I think we both had the same thought. Like as we're training, we're like, we're not doing this again. And
Angel, you were training someone where you had to use our lights, weren't you? Your bike
Yeah, I
lights.
mean, I'm
You're
still
so-
trying
No,
these-
really?
I'm still training a couple of clients like that, and it's funny because we just had this conversation last week. Because he was telling me he was like, oh, I was talking to my girlfriend, and we were saying about how hardcore you are and doing the stuff outdoors. I'm like, dude, the only reason why I'm out here is because you're out here. We spoke about studio time, and you said no, so we're outdoors. But anyway, that's neither.
There
here
is
nor
such a
there.
nice feeling being outside and working out, though. It really is. Yeah.
Just not in freezing weather.
Not in freezing weather. I even did an Instagram post about like, oh, the benefits of being out like training in the cold and how like it's better for your metabolism, all this stuff. I was just like kind of convincing myself I could stand outside for like in 40-degree weather. I did have a cut off temperature though,
Which was,
like 38 degrees.
I've trained in 20 degrees.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like 20, mid-20s, yeah. And I said to my clients, like, as long as you're good, he's like, I'm good, I'll be moving, you're fine. And towards the end, I was losing the sensation of my toes and my fingers. So it was a little...
No,
it
it's
was
hard
a little,
trainer. It's not bad for the person working out.
yeah, if you're
Yeah.
moving, yeah. And there was a day when it was definitely in the 20s. And this is when the client has a gym in his building, but they weren't allowed to bring trainers in. So, and he goes, and the rule of thumb was always virtual's backup, but in person's better. And I was like, you know what, let's do in person, whatever. And I just made sure he for 20 minutes just did not stop moving, or for 10 minutes, and he
Yeah.
was good for the hour. But as you said, if you're the person, you don't, because it's the only time, unless it's maybe a sporting event. I think outside, there's never a time when you're outside, you're just standing still for an hour. You're walking somewhere, it's still cold, but you're somewhat on the peak end of zone 1, borderline zone 2 in terms of your heart rate levels, heart rate zone, sorry. So you're never just like stop there, like freezing cold.
I know.
So yeah, I did it like twice, and that's it. So
I
I don't
would
miss
say-
it though.
I would set it like 5 minutes in between clients so I could jump rope real quick.
Oh,
Like,
yeah?
it actually really helped. I was like vigorously jump rope.
wow.
No, that's smart. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, but I'm so happy you guys are like really stuck to this podcast and you're working the trainer feed. Like it's been a long time. And I remember when you first started it, and it's such a great experience to like see you guys just keep going.
Well, thank you. And we've also been able to recently start getting some, everyone we've had has been super interesting, but we've been able to branch out a little further and actually into the Rome community. We've been able to get some pro athletes that have been able to kind of like tell us about their
Oh,
their
that's
stories.
yeah.
Yeah, we really, and hoping there's, things that brush off of that. But every single person we've had on has been super enlightening. And as you mentioned, there've been definitely a couple of other people that were starting a podcast at the same time as us, but I don't see them doing any more episodes, or they stopped a year ago. And I think the key for us, I'm not throwing shade, I'm just speaking facts, but I think it was, I think being a three-headed monster in this has really helped it. I think it was one or two people have been difficult, but the fact there was three people, and these guys are very organized, so that definitely helps. Yeah.
But consistency is so great. And then I haven't listened to the ones with the athletes, but like especially with like the nutritionist and the intuitive like dietitian one, like that variety I think is really great, where it's not just like the trainers, but getting that like background and like all that, that's really interesting. And maybe even I think it would be even cool to like hear about like maybe a group thing about like what your clients are experiencing, like talking about what your work with your clients are. Did you guys do that yet?
We've spoken about it, I believe, right? David had one client who was interested.
Episode.
Yeah,
we've just probably added a little bit of sound bits, but I don't think we've solely focused on that yet.
Yeah, but I think it's great because you all three like train so differently, and it'll be cool to hear what your clients are And I always loved when we worked together, like seeing everyone's interactions with like other. That's what's actually great about working in a studio again, and like being around other trainers is so much more motivating than being on your own outside or being in your own like place.
Yeah.
Like it's very inspiring to just have like other trainers around. So it's been awesome, like seeing you guys working on this project together.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. We can't appreciate it enough. So you said by the summer, do you have any, so talk us about the hopes of opening a facility. Do you give that much thought? Like would there be some nutritional combination involved in that? Like tell us a bit more.
So right now it just depends on where we're kind of moving to. I've had like the main dream is to kind of have like a kind of nutrition fitness kind of center, but I always think like any overhead is just such a big cost for any business person. So like working with alongside like some of the upstate like hotels here who do a lot of nutrition wellness stuff and who can like hire out trainers or someone who's plant-based for plant-based chefs, things like that. Like even in the houses we're looking at now, I'm trying to find like backyard spaces that are like really good for like also like a scenic kind of thing, like in the woods or in the lakes or whatever, where you could just get a platform, have a pull-up bar, get the weights out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have the little terrace in my apartment now, so that's been nice, but it's not like an actual like fitness center.
Yeah, you can't drop 300-400 pounds on that. They might find your neighbor's apartment.
And I wouldn't like, even in the beginning, it would be great to be like the neighborhood trainer.
Yeah.
Very pretty cool.
Yeah.
It kind of makes, you'll be able to like monopolize that little area.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine.
Well, I'm also trying to plan out me and Russell's future, hopefully, wedding in a backyard too. So it's gonna be
thing. Tie it in there.
Backyard wedding.
Oh, that's so cool.
Well, we were supposed to get married 2 years ago, right before COVID. So
yeah, I remember. I was talking to Alex about that recently. I said, "Oh, it was like a month. Was it May? It was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be May, right before. Yeah.
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 Oh.
But congratulations to you, Jacques, for doing the good deed.
Yeah, I know.
And
it's
also
funny.
Angel, about to get into the whole wedding thing.
Yeah.
Just wait for David now. David, we got to wait for you now.
Hey, anytime now.
What's your dream wedding like, David?
My dream wedding.
David's got focused on school. He just got accepted to Columbia too, right?
Wow. That is we have to catch up in real life.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. That would be great.
Focus is on books and stuff like that and work, right? Because you got to do both. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's great, David. Oh my gosh. But we should definitely catch up and then see each other in real life, and really want to hear about everyone's past 2 years, really.
Yeah, before you move.
Crazy, it's been 2 years. Yeah, especially before you move.
How's your pup?
Yeah. Oh, she's good. She's 50 pounds now. Little chickpea.
Wow.
Yeah, I think she's actually really ready to leave the city. She's getting kind of like overstimulated by
being in an
and now that there's like so much more street traffic, so much more people. I mean, the gyms are getting more crowded, so I think she's getting really kind of overstimulated by like the world.
Yeah, that's not easy.
I mean, so am I. I haven't even like been on Instagram that much, all this stuff, and I do want to like return back once I feel more like calmer. Like in the beginning of COVID, I was really on that like social media stuff. So that's why I'm so much respect to you guys to like keep working on something, putting something out there in the world. But yeah, it's been great talking to you guys. Seriously.
Yeah, we're so glad you're able to join us.
Yeah.
And also, Georgine, I've been hammering the veganism to so many people, by the way. Yeah.
You're such a good advocate for it, because it's not, you don't have to be 100%, you know?
Yeah, and I'm trying to be more mindful of it, but it's people are responding to my posts like, you're not going to convert everyone. I was just like, oh, it sounds like I hit a nerve here. So, but I'm just
saying. I've been just like, just like giving you a hard time, but the people have actually been saying that?
A little bit, but it doesn't cost me anything to, you could do this instead of this, and something's not going to die. And you got me, and then got Angel into compost as well, composting. So Alex is like, you need to take it out. It's full. I was like, I know. I got like 2
If you
bags.
miss
I've
a
taken out
week,
2
if
weeks.
you miss a week, it's bad.
Yeah, I get like 2 weeks at a time. And I've got like 2 bags of like compost down the street. So
Dude, they shut it down by where I live. So they used to have it like on 125th Street, but they actually shut it down like right by a garden. They said, or 126, and they said if you throw it here, it's going straight to the trash. We don't have enough people to actually compost it, so you can't send it here anymore. So that was
Carry it on your electric bike, Angel.
I know I have it in my freezer. I don't know. It's gonna be when I bring it out.
You guys have to chat with me about this whole
freezer,
compost.
the food or your bike?
Into it.
Gotta do it.
No,
It's the way to go.
To me, when I see trash on the street, what are the things that are leaky or smelly? It's old rotten food. If it was just plastics and metals or papers, there would be no smelly. There'd be no food liquid dripping out. I'm like super overdrive now, so to the point where like if I've eaten something, I like completely rinse it out, let it dry, then recycle it. Just because like it's a bit of an OCD, but it's like I don't know. To me, I'm like when I see like downstairs and recycling, and I see like paper, regular paper in the waste, I'm like the recycling is actually a foot away. Like it's just so it's just about raising awareness, I think, and just being really open-minded about it. But so I definitely think from knowing you, they've taken so much on and so many good habits and good mental thought spaces or approaches since knowing you. So definitely appreciate that.
Everything being mindful.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
so
Georgine.
much again.
No, thank you. This was awesome.
See you soon. Plan it for real life, okay?
Yeah, definitely got to link up.
I'll see you guys soon.
Bye, Georgine.
Bye.
All right, guys. So that is it for today. We'll wrap this thing up. It was cool to listen in and hear what everybody had to say about where they were and where they're at right now. David, Jacques, any closing sentiments? Last
just that it was pretty cool to have 3 people that have been on the journey with us. I think especially appreciate Nick, but Georgine and Brendan were 2 of the first guests we ever had. So getting them on to see how this journey has continued. I know I spoke about that in the beginning, but from episode 5 to 100, it's not, if you can foresee that sounds good. That sounds achievable, but to actually do it every week. And I think that's what set us apart from some other people podcasting, which I think everyone in the beginning in COVID was, I have so much time, let's start the podcast, and then things get, and life happens, but we've been able to keep it a very manageable, successful rate that has been consistent with putting out good information on a regular basis. So that I just feel very proud of this. Yeah. And I think it's only going to continue growing. I don't think we're even anywhere near the top yet. That's just how I feel.
David?
Well, I want to say if, the people watching or any of our listeners that have watched other episodes, if you guys have any topics, any ideas, any questions, critiques, just let us know. Slide into our DMs.
Especially David's.
Especially mine. Telling us what we could do better. Any things that you have on your mind about our podcast. That'll be pretty cool.
100%.
Excellent. Well, thanks guys for joining in on the live. Thanks for tuning in. We will catch you in the next one.
Bye guys.
Peace.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Peace.